Okay, this is my latest widget. It's borderlining on a contraption because it's overly complicated for what it does, but that was intentional. It's really just a fun widget, something to put on your desk where you can drop a scalpel in and out very quickly and easily and have it handy. But in addition to being a scalpel holder, of course, it's got a custom scalpel, but the scalpel and the scalpel holder will accommodate a wide range of blades, up from 18 through to 25, I think. I'll post the exact numbers, but all of those blades fit in it and work quite well. It can serve as the scalpel holder, as I mentioned, but it's also a blade removal tool. So you squeeze these two halves together and then just pull out the handle and off comes the blade. The blade's then captured into this housing, and there's a lever on the front, which when I press it in, drops the blade out. So, I mean, if we were doing something where you had a contaminated blade, you could drop that straight into the trash. But even just to, pick it up when you're ready, it's a nice feature. And on the outside is a little place where you can wedge the blades in, which allows you to use that to reinstall the blade. So it's holding it quite firmly, and I can just press this on and now I've got a blade reattached. Or you can just drop them into this little cavity here. There's a cavity to hold and store blades, so you can put them in either into the holder here, or give a bunch of them. So if you're like me and you like different blades for different purposes, then you can put them in there and have them sitting ready for when you need one. I'll show you how it all goes together. There's a few supports in the design that need to be removed before you assemble it, so I'll just show those quickly. And the assembly is pretty easy and straightforward. Otherwise, it's pretty good. Oh, one thing that I added, which is might not be intuitively obvious when you look at it, is at the top here, there's a little section that can rotate. It rotates inward. And I'm calling that the anti-jam device, because I first made this without that, and what can happen is if the back corner of the blades are very sharp actually. When you engage it, it's pushed that blade forward. When I pull that up now, that back corner can actually get stuck into the plastic, and the tip of the blade, being so sharp, can wedge into the other side. So I did all sorts of things to try and make it smooth inside and give it room for it to flex and drop. But in the end, I needed this, or I found that this little rotating wall allows that back corner to grab in there, and it tries to flex it up and rotate it. As the handle comes out, that rotates up, and it gives relief to the blade and prevents it from jamming. So it worked really well. And then when you put the handle back in, it just forces it back into position. And so that worked out really well. I've printed everything in PETG. I have tested it in ABS as well. Yeah, let me show you how it goes together. That's it. So there's only 4 parts that make up the widget or contraption. They print in the orientation shown here. This little lever device has no print support, so I don't need to show you anything about that. This I call the slide, has a small piece of support sitting right here, so you can just break that one off. That one comes off really easy. On the main base, there are 4 pieces of support, and the first 2 I'll show you are on these corners here. I just wanted those to make a nice round edge, so those snap off, and those will give you a fairly good finish there. You can clean it up a bit if you want. There's another round corner here, which I put a tiny piece of support on. It should print a little bigger than that. And then here you can see there's a recess here. There's another one on this side that's got a little bit of support on it. And I looped this around because when I printed in ABS, I had a little bit of trouble lifting on this little piece here. So that should help you if you're having a little bit of lifting from your bed. So that's that part. And then lastly, the receiver for the scalpel has a couple of pieces in it. There's an end one right here. So it just snaps out. It should just snap out. A support here in the middle. I just flicked it from the inside to get it out. And another one on this side. Again, you should be able to just flick it out. And that's it. So then to assemble it, the first thing you need to do is put this lever in here. It should fit in just like this. and sit in fairly well. If you need to get that out, you can just pry on the back edge here and you can get it back out. The receiver just forces in here. It's kind of like a snap fit, and now that's in with a little bit of movement. And the slide just goes on, and again, a little bit of pressure, it should drop into place and then be locked in. If you need to take this one off, it's a little bit more difficult. You can pry the two sides and get it out, or in what I ended up doing, just printing it again and cut this one off because it's easier than prying it out, but you can if you need to. And so press it together, and as this slide comes up, which happens because the scalpel engages onto this little piece here. Sorry, I forgot to tell you, the scalpel prints, there's nothing to do on that. When it comes off the build plate, it's good to go. So the scalpel goes in and presses, and then bam. There's only one piece that requires a little bit of special attention, depending on how you're printing, and that's that little rotating anti-jam part here. You need to just make sure that can move. If it's stuck from the print, just give it a little move, a little bit of motion, and it should free up. It doesn't need to be super free, as long as it can move. And I designed it to have a fair amount of play in there, so it shouldn't take too much to get that to go. Slide a blade on. You can drop it in and out, and just as your desktop holder. And then when it's down in, snap it, pull it, and you're off, and the blade's captured inside. That's it. Hope you enjoy it. I should also explain for anybody who is like I was very up until quite recently, with really no experience with scalpel blades. I mentioned that this my Scalpel widget thing can handle a lot of blades. So I've got here 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and this is the switchback blade, which I think is also similar to a 60A blade. This switchback blade is really nice. It's polished steel, it's thicker, and it's got a rounded butt on it. And so I think this is being marketed for more as a quick replacement knife blade. These ones were all actually, I think, originally medical blades. But these ones, all the medical style blades, are super cheap. If you can buy a box of 100 of them, when you can find them, they're pennies each. If you see all the blades out there and it's a bit daunting, definitely some are better than others, but my two favorites for sure are the 22 and the 24. I like a pointed blade for doing detailed work. If I'm cutting out paper or anything like that, a sharp end is really good. And that's the 24. There's other ones, the 23 and the 18 all have the pointed blade as well, but bigger is better in my view, so that's why I picked the 24. And then for the rounded blades, the 22 and the 21 and then the 20 are all very similar, but you see a size difference. So the 22 is actually quite similar to the switchback in size. And so 22 and 24 are my new go-to blades. I really like them both. And as just a final note, I have a new version of my folding scalpel that I posted a few weeks ago. I'll post this soon. It can now hold all of these all the way up to the switchback. So it's a little bit bigger, way better design, and can hold all these blades. So that'll be something I'll post soon. But really what I was trying to say is, if you're not sure what blades to get, these are all decent, but there's definitely, the bigger ones seem to be quite nice to work with and easier to handle as well. And they all will work with the Scalpel widget. There you have it.